Welcome to SOULutions, where men come out of the shadows to testify, giving tips in manhood, honor the codes of integrity, and give out real solutions for soul survival. Today, we have on the show a leader of men, a devoted husband, a veteran, a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, a father of the two best and brightest, and one of our most favorite people on the planet. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mr. Cameron Wesley. I saw you threw it up there for him real quick, huh?
That's right. Time for the brush.
You ready to get this thing on the road?
Let's get it popping, man.
All right. What person did you meet or see that gave you the drive towards the man you are today? Who or what defined you?
What person did I meet or see? Well, I mean, I can't define one person because there has been several people that I met, but I've always had a drive in myself. But the defining moment that let me know that I can do anything that I put my mind to was the moment I met President Bill Clinton. And the reason why I say that is because a little black country boy like myself, raised up with my grandmother in the South, in Hopkins, South Carolina. It meant a lot to me to go from that little dirt road to meet and shake the president's hand and then take a picture with him. And for that moment, when I shook his hand and he said, "Excellent job, soldier," it made me stop and think, what else could I do? What else can I do from that moment? And, that changed my mindset because I had to fight a lot of things in the military, from racism, from roadblocks, from black on black stigmas. It meant a lot to me. So that moment, I think it was 1990 through 92 or 93, somewhere along that line. It changed a lot for me at that moment because I had never seen that or never experienced any feeling like that for me. And so from that moment on, I realized if something that I wanted to do, really, really put my mind to it, no matter what the obstacles that was put in front of me, all I had to do was just keep moving forward. And that changed my life when I met President Bill Clinton.
Wow, you just said a mouthful. There's so many things I want to ask you about the diaspora, which you just spoke from. Can you speak to me about having the patience to get through the stigmas that you fought through in the military?
I can't say it was all patience. It's probably 20% ignorance, I have to say, because, growing up with my grandmother, God bless her soul, she had a second grade education and she raised me to be a man among men. And she wasn't privy to a lot of things. And we never had cable. So I was never up to par on the newest of events back then when BT came out on cable and the new videos came out on hip hop. I wasn't up to par. I wasn't, so with that being said, fast forwarding to your question, going through the stigmas and the roadblocks and being hipped up to my age group, I was behind. And so I think, my grandmother growing up through the old South, she was trying to teach me in her way of how to deal with clandestines or white people or racist white people, I should say. And I would always ask her, what's wrong with them? Why are they color? Why are they lighter than us? Or she would say, well, they have a skin problem. So I'm growing up in the South, you know, thinking they have a skin problem because, I'm physically stronger. I'm always faster. From the day I started competing in sports, I love sports because that's our outlet. Growing up in the South, running outside, playing all the time, and when you're outside playing, you develop some critical skills of thinking. You're faster. You can do things, and so of course you're good at certain things like math and stuff like that. So you're wiser, so to speak, a lot faster than most kids. So of course I'm making A's and straight A's and E's back then. I don't think they do that type of stuff now. So when I got into the real world in the military, you run into. Let me back up. I also had my biological mother and my aunt. They were educators. They didn't allow me to say the word this, THIS, with DIS, this and that. I had to grammatically say the words and phonetically sound them out. So here you are back in the 70s, in the early 80s, in the deep South, in the country, enunciating the words correctly. That didn't fare well with some of the deep South country kids. So when you go into the military and they hear you from South Carolina and you're speaking and enunciating the words correctly as a Black man, that doesn't fare well in Georgia when you do your basic training in infantry. And then you're killing them in the 2-mile run or the push-ups or the sit-ups, because again, we are physical in nature. We outside running, we outside playing, we're doing things. And so it doesn't help them that I ran track, I ran cross country, I ran the 2-mile, and I'm running 2-mile and I'm running the mile in 4 minutes and 32 seconds. I'm killing the game. So when I get in the military, it's nothing for me to run and pass my PT test. So fast forward to your questions, the obstacles I had to face. I get to Fort Ord, California, my first base. The first thing they do when you get to your assignment base, they give you a physical fitness test. I ran my first 2 miles in 10 minutes and 15 seconds, which is unheard of. You normally run a 2-mile at the fastest 11 minutes and 15 seconds. That's the fastest guy they had, which was a white Caucasian guy. Well, of course, I shaved a whole minute off of his run time, almost. Well, they told me I was cheating. They couldn't believe that an African guy who doesn't like cold, a Black guy, I say African, but that's what I relate myself to. They told me I was cheating. And so they gave me another PT test like a month later. And then I ran it, I slowed down a little bit. So I ran it in like 11 minutes for him. And then I did, you normally do like 84 push-ups. I did 120 push-ups in 2 minutes. And so, you have to constantly prove yourself. And then on the flip side, the Black soldiers were happy that they had someone to represent them in the physical fitness area, because there were drugs in the area. They were smoking marijuana, which was illegal in the military back then. It still is, probably. I'm sure it is, but it was heavily rampant back then. People drink a lot of alcohol and stuff like that, and that's something that I didn't do. Nobody can force me to do anything I didn't want to do. That's part of my makeup, part of my manhood. Who I am is who I am. You can't force me to do anything. And that's one thing my grandmother raised me to be my own self, think for my own self. And so, but that's one of the obstacles I had to face, was going against the grain of my own people, trying to get me to drink, hang out with them, smoke marijuana, and then going against the grain on the white side was they were going to stop me from becoming physical fit and talking a certain way, walking a certain way. I mean, I just do who my makeup is. I want to be the best of the best. And being the best of the best to me was being physical fit, get my mind and body right, finding out who was the best, crushing them, and then getting to the top. My goal was to be the command sergeant major of the Army. But when you're fighting both sides, you're a sellout. Why? Because you're not hanging out with us. I want you to break the label. I'm like, break the label. Here I am again. I'm not hip with everybody because I'm not. I'm growing up on the country road. I don't get the chance to hang out at the skating ring or at the gym playing basketball because we don't have a car. We don't have a car. I'm on a dirt road, so I'm left way behind in my era. I got to catch up real fast. So these guys say, break the label, break the label. Well, what's breaking the label? Well, breaking the label is you got a 40 ounce and you got to drink it down to the label at least. I don't drink, So okay, here I am. It's okay. I'm gonna hang out with you guys. So I drink a little bit. I'm totally toasted. A good thing for me, I got good friends that don't drink, and I call them and they get me out of the situation. Say, Wes, this is not you. This is not who you are.
Yeah.
Don't hang out around with those guys. Get me out. So that's when I, get back to myself, go on, become a ranger, get to meet the president, travel around the world, become the world top elite soldier, and defeat a lot of countries. All kind of stuff. Sniper, become a battalion sniper. Get myself back on track. But
all those amazing things you just said. What stuck in my mind the most, and I want to stay here and talk about this. Did you slow down for them?
No.
You just happen to run it. You just happen to run the 11. Because do you think something in you was like, well, you ran 10:15 because you were free. Your mind was free. You were just being your best. Do you think the second time around, not on purpose, but maybe subconsciously, you slowed down a little bit?
I can't, because almost 25, 30 years ago, I can't really say what I was thinking in, but probably the weight and the anger. I kind of felt the pressure of racism for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And, because when I came back across the line at 10:15, some of the black soldiers that were so-called hurt on light duty and couldn't run was like, we got one now. They was patting me on the back, and I was confused, like, what in the world's going on? Yeah, we got y'all white. Hey, we got y'all now. We got our own now. Yeah, he got y'all now. We got our own. Yeah, you keep doing what you're doing, brother. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm literally oblivious to what's going on. They're patting me on the back saying, yeah, you keep doing what you're doing. Kill them, see, get those cameras, we're gonna kick y'all behind. And this is like in today's world, a Trump base, violent up the base, on both sides. So you got like 5 brothers over here and maybe, the sergeants and the corporals over here who's writing down the times. You got the leaders over here and the sick calls over there, going at each other, the ones that don't care and the ones that's in power that I'm trying to get to, they're going at it and I'm in the middle, so subconsciously I'm aware, but realistically I'm oblivious. I have never experienced anything like this before, but I'm not dumb because I can put the puzzles together. In my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what's really happening. I don't want any part of this. I've always been peaceful and I ain't never been in any controversy in my life. I'm fresh, 18, fresh out of the country with my grandmother. We always been peaceful. You're poor, but you don't know you're poor. You just live the life in that. And all you
happiness,
have, when you're poor, all you know is you want more. And that's the beauty about being poor. If you got the drive and you got the ambition to want more, you never stop, and that's all I knew. but you don't want nothing to get in the way of that, you know.
Right.
So subconsciously, you're probably correct. You know, I probably had a little weight on my shoulders, and from that moment on, I always ran around about 11, 10, 57, 11. I kept it, you know, I always was number one. I made sure I was the first one back. And because running was just a natural thing, I didn't have to run hard anymore because competition wise from Lower Richland High School, I always had to run hard to compete and get first or second, first or second. But when you get in the military, you just running to get your 100-point score in that category and then move to the next category, which is sit-ups and push-ups. And, you know, that's really what I wanted to do because you only need to get back before 11:57 in my age group at that time. And that's what I wanted to do, to accomplish. I didn't run to compete against anybody. I wanted to leave that life behind. But here I get back in the military, I'm competing against another race for running, you know? It's crazy.
Well, I will
You're
say
probably
this.
correct.
Shout out to LR High School. breeding those champions, okay? South Carolina,
big
stand
shout
up.
out. Big shout out to LI Diamonds, you know?
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you have a vision board?
I have a vision book. You know, I got a vision book. My kids have a vision board. I taught them about the vision board. I have a desktop full of, I wish I could show you, of vision tabs, you know, of goals that I want to hit. And then I go in there nightly, probably from 10 to 12 after family time, and I open them up and I see if I hit those. And then, you know, something like the movie Notebook, I have what's called a notebook. And in my notebook, this is my 10th one, fold them down when I achieve them. As you can see right now, you know, right now I'm working on something different. I got myself a different type of challenge going on, which is teaching myself how to do stocks. And I got $100,000 challenge to myself for this year. And it's not bad.
Oh man, listen. Okay. You just told me that you have $100,000 challenge. That is an apex goal that you have this year. Please give me an apex goal that you have achieved.
Okay. The first goal, the first goal I have achieved was the first goal was to make sure that I didn't spoil my kids, to keep them hungry. That was the very first goal. Not to spoil my kids. That was the very first goal. I knew that I was going to be something what I call successful. And I don't mean wealthy or rich. I was just going to be successful in life. That means I wasn't going to be, I knew I was going in the military. I knew I was going to be an airborne ranger and a sniper and all that good stuff, a super soldier, because that's what I wanted to be. But I didn't want it to become an alcoholic or, you know, something like that. Now, not to say I don't have some type of problems. I suffer from migraine headaches and all the other stuff all the time, but I didn't want it to be a burden on my family to that point to where I had to resort to drinking. So with that being said, I can't say a lot. I had what I needed growing up to get me to this point. So I didn't want to give what I didn't have to my kids when they asked for it. So I wanted them to stay hungry like I did, because I knew what I saw with some of my cousins getting everything they want versus where they are and where I'm at today. So I wanted to make sure that I give them a good life, a great life and experiences, but make sure they have the same hunger that I had growing up, because I knew that was very important for me to have something. And so that was the first apex goal that I wanted to make sure that I achieved, was to make sure they stay hungry, whatever it is that they want or go after, and not to over give them anything that they wanted. You know, Dad, I want a bike, I give them that. Dad, I want this, I give them that. You know, I think I want to. It's hard as a parent to do that. Um, but I had to pull back. Now, I had to dress it up now. Don't get me wrong. I had to dress it up in the point to where they had to earn things and something that they really want. So you'll get that when you get your own job, you know. But it's very hard to do as a parent, as a dad, because our job as a father is to provide, protect, and profess our love. You know, the three P's. And I try to do that, but it's very hard to do, and I fail sometimes because when they come and say, "Dad, you know," and, you know, you go off, say, "No, you ain't gonna get it," but you know, you do it
You
anyway.
you said a mouthful. There's two things I want to discuss within what you said. The first thing I want to discuss is that the fact that we have to have discipline as the next generation who actually had a chance to be more than middle class or middle class. We have kids that need to know that that is a privilege for us to be able to maneuver through this system and actually have something to give to our kids. So you left that starvation in them. I think that's profound. As a parent,
Mm-hmm.
I have not even thought about that process of starving my son out a little bit. So far, he's only 3, but I pretty much give him everything he asked for. And now I think you just hurt some of his chances. in a in
Yeah,
a
yeah.
in a good way though. And I really appreciate that. And the second thing is you're talking stocks. With this pandemic, a lot of people still did not turn towards the stock market. As an African, most of us do not manage our money in the stock market. And the fact that you're going towards that direction, it speaks volumes of where you want to be in terms of wealth and health and sustainability. And I encourage everyone to go and just try to invest in something that you already have that you use that has a stock, that has an IPO. It's amazing stuff.
Well, let me touch on that a little bit. And when I went into the military, I ran into a Puerto Rican guy named Rodriguez, and he was telling me about and this insurance company called NCO Academy, and it was for NCOs at the time. I went in as a PFC, E3. I went straight into the military as an E3. I skipped E1 and E2. I went in straight as an E3, and and he said, "Look," he said, "Wesley, you know, you need to get you some life insurance and whole life. You're physically fit, one of the most physically fit soldiers I've ever seen. It's going to be real cheap for you. It's going to be $47 a month, and we're going to invest the $53 for you, and it'll compound over 20 years, and you'll be a millionaire." I'm like, $100 a month? I can't afford that. He said, "Man, if you can't afford to spend $100 on yourself, then you don't need to be in the military. You need to be doing something else." You know, I'm like, okay, so I did it. That was when I was like 19 years old. And so, lo and behold, I got tired of being deployed, blah, 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 blah. I got out of the military. And my wife and I, we expected our first son. It was just Cam in 97. Well, my wife was 60% of our income. She's a registered nurse. She got sick with hyperemesis, which means she couldn't keep any food down for 6 months.
Mm,
Well, our income got cut because we had to go on disability. You know, they pay what they normally pay. You get like
fraction.
40% of her income.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. So I'm working this 9 to 5 job, and I'm only making like $10 an hour back then. It's way back in '97, which is whatever. So I had to think of how we're going to survive. I'm going to pay all these bills. So I got it. So I called my insurance company and I said, "Hey, how much money do I have saved up?" I had over $20,000 invested, you know. So I called and had them send me a check for 15 grand. And then I learned the value of investing and getting that money. Had I not touched it for another 4 years, it would have compounded almost like $200,000. But I
Wow.
needed the money, you know. From there, you know, I did some investing, some small investments. But last year, I started investing like $300 in Robinhood, and I really didn't mess with it. And then in December, like in September, I did a little couple of movements around, and it grew to 3,000. And then December it grew to like I'm gonna say three, like 4,000, or 29,000, something like that, 2,900, something like that. Well, I started YouTubing and listening and looking, and there's no such thing as a bad investment, because where one go, you buy on the dip or whatever, and you sell, you get your props. Don't get greedy, but my point is, I was able to take $300 and grow it to $7,500, just YouTubing and listening, following people. And I follow this guy, and I don't know if you want me to promote him or not, but I
Yeah, go
follow this
ahead,
guy on
please.
YouTube.
Yes.
His name is Chris Sain. Chris is CHRIS, and his last name is Sain, SAIN.
Mhm.
Very good brother on YouTube. Give a shout out to Chris Sain, but he's a
Yeah.
very good brother. Easy to follow. Makes it very easy on Robinhood. A lot of people are against Robinhood because you got people who are very so savvy, to do Weeble or whatever. But Robinhood is so easy. I mean, because it's for people like us who just don't, who's not going to do trade options and all that stuff, marginal trading. You don't need to do all that. It's $1,825 a year for 20 years at 6%. You'll make over $1 million. That's $5 a day for a cup of coffee, because the stock market pays you that. Of course, it's going to go up and down. That's $5 a day. That's how much it costs a year. And what they don't tell you is, you would, instead of putting your money in a savings account that gives you 1% or 2% a year, a month. Well, I allowance myself $100 a week. And what I've been doing, instead of putting that money in the savings account, I go and put it in my dividend stock, because there's certain stocks that pay you money for putting your money in the stocks. So every month they'll pay me for 7% on that $100, but I put it in every week. So I was able to grow my money real fast. Now I invested in Tesla. Tesla went from what I bought at $300 to over $800 something. You know how much money I've made off of Tesla? I don't have a savings account anymore. I put all my money into certain stocks that I follow with Chris saying. He comes and tells you this is going to go from $18 to $60 by $125 a share. So I take all my money out in my savings and buy $125 a share. Heck, I buy $200 shares to this. And guess what I just made? I made over $1,500. And then I sell it and then put it back, because it gives you an account. And then I buy some shares of whatever she tell us to share. We make that money. I made over $3,000 in 2 days or 3 days.
I know a person who bought one share of Tesla for $350 before they split, and they were able to take that $350 and it turned into $12,000 because of Tesla going up to 2,300, then splitting and giving you $5. It is actually one of the best games, and it's fun to be in. It's exciting, win or lose. It's exciting to see your money actually do something for you. And I encourage anyone to get on a stock level.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. But I don't do it like full time. It's just something part time, because I sit here in the house sometimes, and when I don't have a headache or something like that, I can do it. I don't do it like all out like some people would do it. But if you got the time or part time, you got a phone, you can do it.
Well, talk to me about leaving where you're from. You spoke already about you growing up on a dirt road, but talk to me how important it is for someone to leave where they're from to experience the world. How is it important?
When I mentor kids, I talk to them often about getting out and going, seeing the world and experience it for you. You have to have something to, I believe, that you need something to measure something against. Because how do you know what's good and what's bad if you can't measure something against something else? We all do it. We all measure something against something else. I mean, the law of attraction is physical. I mean, you don't just automatically walk up to somebody and say, "Oh, I like the way you sound. I'm in love." No, you don't. You look at something physically and say, "Wow, that's beautiful." You know, so you go to a different place and say, "I'm in love with the city." You know, it has a wildness about it. You know, it fits your attitude. People go to New York and fall in love with the bright lights. People go in Philadelphia and fall in love with the serene, the beauty of it, the people. I'm sorry, my phone just going off there. And you go to California. I like California for the atmosphere, the weather. I love it. There's no pollen. I love it. You know, Texas. I like Texas for the dryness. You know, the open flat roads. You know, Florida for the greenery. You know, Walt Disney World, whatever. You know, you got to get out of your environment. You know, and go see for yourself. Um, and experience life for yourself. You know, I often, when I mentor kids, I tell them the first thing you got to do is leave your small town, leave your big city for another city, experience that, get some new wisdom under your belt. Uh, Keep your head down, keep your nose up, keep your chin up, and experience get some some new life into you. You know, I didn't live until I left South Carolina. You know, I had to go through some things, but that made me a stronger person. You know, I wasn't coddled underneath my family. You know, I had to get out and go experience for myself what it's like to, get a couple of lashes on my legs there to figure out, hey, I can't step this way because if I go that way, this may happen. If I go that way, this may happen. If I don't pay this bill, this is going to happen. If I don't get up and work, I'm not going to eat. And so going out on your own as a young person, but keeping in touch with your family is key. I will say that. And I say that because if you're 18 and you run into a 35-year-old that's been in the game, they're going to know more than you. They're going to be wiser. And if they're not a good-hearted person, they can use bad wisdom to take whatever you have. And you need good wisdom. You need mom and dad wisdom to help you get through some things. And it's not bad to say, hey, mom, dad, what do you think about this? Hey, what do you think about this? Hey, auntie, what do you think about this? Bounce your ideas off of people that you trust, and then marinate on what they say before you act. That doesn't mean that you have to act solely on their opinion, but hey, take in consideration what they said before you act. That's plenty of times I had to call my Uncle Dennis, God rest his soul, and say, hey, I'm about to buy this car. And this dude said blah, 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 blah. This is what's wrong with it. But I already knew in my mind I was going to buy this car. The car wasn't good. It's a Pontiac Fiero. Remember those bad Fieros? It wasn't good. He said, son, don't buy that car. This is what's wrong with it, blah, 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 blah. But I already knew in my heart I was going to buy the car. But I had to hear his opinion. And the guy told me one thing, it was running fine, blah, blah, blah. But I called him. He told me exactly what's wrong with the car. I bought the car anyway. Drove the car for 2 days, car broke down. Exactly what he said. Now I'm stuck holding the bill. And I got to pay this bill. And it costs too much to get the car fixed. But the guy was a sham artist. He scammed me out of my money. My uncle was right. I was wrong. But I learned. And today now when I buy cars for my kid, I know. I learned from that. And so like I said, you got to have good people. I would not let my son go out there at 18 and buy a car on his own. He knows when he want to buy something, he'll call me to the day and say, hey, Dad, what you think about this? I give him what I think. Or if I don't know, I say, let's call your uncle who's in the car game and get his opinion. He sees me do that. He knows that, hey, if Dad do the research, if they see me do that, then I need to do the research, before I make a move. Absolutely. And if he see me back out some deals on some cars or see me back out some deals on some items, then he knows it's okay to back out a deal. All deals ain't good. So
let's take it up a notch. Let's talk about sacrifices. Army Ranger, military. I know you were ignorant to
Yeah.
certain things, but what did you sacrifice for your to-do list, for your goals? What did you sacrifice?
As when I sacrifice, as for what specifically?
You trying to achieve, you said that you knew you wanted to be a commander. You knew you wanted to do, you had a roadmap for yourself. So along that roadmap, along that path, that tunnel vision, you sacrifice certain things to achieve the goal. So right now we're talking about sacrifices and how people sometimes have to accept those sacrifices to get where they're going.
Well, I often think about what did I have to give up for that sacrifice to become an Army Ranger, to be among the elite for that back then. I don't think it's too elitist to be part of that elite group now. It's not as hard, but back then it was. I don't know if I had to sacrifice a lot because I didn't have a lot back then. All I had was me and my grandmother then. Would I do it again? Or I had me and my grandmother and my wife now. Those two people was the only thing that's near and dear to my heart then, back in the 90s. So I didn't have a lot to sacrifice. The time away from my grandmother, and I keep mentioning her because she's always near and dear to my heart, which is my mother. That's the only thing that you have to sacrifice is time away. You can't get that back. That is always going to be gone because when I finish that training, you're gone. The friendship, the camaraderie, you're gonna have to let that go. You can't be, how can I say it? You will have to turn off a relationship. You have to turn off some types of friendships to be focused on you, to achieve that type of goal. And when that sacrifice comes with a little bit cold heart, and then over the years, I think that's the only small regret I would have is that it allowed me to become cold and not as caring as I used to be before I went in, because you turn off your emotions, and it's kind of hard to turn that back on. And it took me a long time to learn how to tell my sons that I love them. It took me a long time to say, I will always say in a third sense, in a third person, daddy loves you, versus say, I love you. It took me a long time to do that. If you wasn't in my circle before I became in that range of life, then you couldn't get in that circle. It took a long time for me to establish that. So that's the sacrifice that you would have to make, going into that, is learning how to have emotions. So, even today, I'm still trying to tackle that demon, having emotions. You have to know right from wrong. And the good thing about that is I had a strong upbringing from my grandmother about right and wrong, and my morals are intact with that. I don't have to, fight. How can I say?
It's a great thing that she gave you that defense mechanism. Even having a second grade education, she gave you the morality of right and wrong as a lifelong defense mechanism. And I salute your grandmother and praise her for that. But let's dive really deep here. Can you talk to me about your lowest moment when you were feeling like you didn't know yourself, but not just talk about that. We want to know how you got up. This is for the people who are maybe dwelling in their lowest moment right now, and they need tools, they need affirmations, they need opportunities to hear someone say how they got up. Can you share that with us today?
My lowest moment. Let's see. See if I have the lowest moment out. I don't know. I'll have to think about that one, man. I don't know if I had a lowest moment. Well, I do, but I don't know if I really want to share that.
Well,
Open up that Pandora.
Yeah, go further up. Go further up. Don't go so
Yeah. That those are missions, man. Mission oriented, you know.
Yeah. Don't go so.
We don't want to go there. People they might want to. They look at me differently and think differently about me, you know. Back in the military days.
But we're not talking about maybe something personal that you were dealing with for yourself, that you turned off your emotions. Is there something that you did to turn the emotions back on, where it was a moment where you got low and it's like, okay, I need to.
Well, I could say this. I was feeling really, really bad for myself, and everything was failing, and I was at the lowest of low, and I was being discriminated against, and I was being targeted, so to speak. And I can't say pride myself on being a strong man, but I've always been strong for my family. And I had contemplated suicide, and I was very, very close. And I sat down in my house and I turned out all the lights. And I just couldn't get out of my head. And I couldn't think of nothing else but just leaving the world. And I don't know how long it took. And this is right before I retired. It was in July 2014. But I was tired of everything. And it was just overbearing. And I was being discriminated against. And I couldn't figure out why the color of my skin was just overbearing. And it was not just and I'm saying not just white people, it was even my own people that was discriminating against me. And I could not figure out why. Because I'm not, I wasn't a bad person. I just couldn't figure out why they would want to attack me. And I had done everything that I could do to make it go away. And I had done everything that I could do except one thing: I didn't pray. And as I sat on the edge of the couch, and I said, "Let me try this one thing." Hold on. Okay, yeah. Let me try this one thing. And I prayed to God. I asked him for help. And then as I did that, something happened that never happened before. My front door opened. And it was my wife. She came home in the middle of the day for no reason. And she said, "What's wrong with you?" And I think I just kind of like broke down. I don't know if I cried or I kind of just told her, what was going on. And she said, "No matter what it is, we'll get through this." And then, we just kind of like, things changed from that moment on, and so my message to people, pray to God, in your lowest of lowest, I had got in my own way. I said, I think the key word there, I had tried everything, but I didn't pray. I had, like I said, you know, because of my military past, my heart was hard. I have no emotions. You know, the thing is with me, I'm an old soldier. So if I work for you and you sit in a chair and you give me a set of instructions, those are the instructions. Until you remove, I have to follow my orders. And that's the way I treated my old job. Um, it didn't matter, if the person didn't like me because of my skin color. Okay, I knew that. But you gave me a set of instructions. I do my job. Now, what you can't do is just be blatantly racist toward me. But it was happening. But I did my job, but you can't treat civilian life like a military life. Um, but that happened. Um,
I love the fact
so
that you went through. I can liken it to when a snake sheds its skin. There's a growth process there. There's a metamorphosis taking place. I think at that moment, the change was coming for you. And all you had to do was pray. And God sent you
yeah,
something. He sent you, not only did he send you a tangible validation, he also gave it to you in your heart to stand up and hold on to what now, to me, in my opinion, you are needed here on this earth. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah,
There's so many
yeah.
things you have done after that point. Dr. Miles Monroe, and I said this before on another episode, Dr. Miles Monroe said, when someone leaves this earth, it's like burning down a forest.
Mm.
Could you imagine the forest you would have burned that day if she had not walked through that door, if you have not prayed? Look at the forest,
Yeah.
the fruit you have bared. I want you to talk to me about fatherhood. And I don't want to talk about, oh, it's amazing, the babies, oh, the cute. I want to talk about the moments where you love your kids, but at this moment right now, I don't like you. You have to talk to me about the patience as to being a father.
Well, I mean, I give it to you raw, man. I don't really cut corners about the googly stuff. I never done that. I never done that with my kids. I mean, fatherhood is challenging, man. It really is. I taught my kids about the four cardinal principles of manhood and our four cardinal principles of Omega Psi Phi. I teach it to my kids: manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift. And I teach it to all kids in our in my little boys club. But fatherhood is definitely, it's challenging, man. My firstborn your firstborn is definitely going to be your most challenging. I don't care if it's a girl. I don't care if it's a boy. It's going to be challenging. They're the ones that's going to have to go through the brimstone. They're going to have to go through everything with you because you're not going to let that firstborn do a lot of things for fear of. And especially in today's environment, you're definitely going to be hesitant. You're going to have to put aside your own fears and teach them everything. Starting with going on dates, dating the opposite race, dating a Chinese person, dating a Latino, dating your own kind, getting pulled over by the cops, going to Walmart to shop, going to put your stuff in the car. You gotta go through everything with the first person. So if you have a second, then the second's gonna learn from the first person. And then you gotta talk to the first child about school, doing homework, and they're not gonna want to do it because they have nobody, again, to compare it to. They are the first. Let's go that comparison thing again. Now the second child is gonna be easy because if you put foot in the first child, the second child don't want none of that. And so they don't. So, I knew this. So my first child, Cam Jr., he got it bad. So the second child has never made it nothing less than an A. Because he didn't want none of that. He didn't want none of that smoke.
He ain't want no smoke. He ain't want no smoke.
No. Tyler Tyler does his homework. He does his homework on his own. He does everything. He'll read his paper and tell us what time to be to school. I mean, but the first one, oh my gosh, Cam is amazing. I mean, we had to go through it. Did you do your homework? Yes, sir. Teacher said, Cam to turn his homework in. Okay. That first one, man.
Yeah,
I mean, I had to get in that. I had to get in that. I mean, I went and sat in the class when he was in 12th grade. He walked in the class, I'm sitting in there as a senior.
Whoa.
So, I'm an involved parent. And I say, hey man, you're in college, but don't make me sit in your class while you're in college. You're on my money, my time. I am that parent. I'm an involved parent. I'm not a crazy parent. I'm just an involved parent.
There's nothing wrong with that and being involved.
Yeah. And I'm told, hey, and with the colleges, and it's one keynote I want to tell all the parents. Colleges will say, leave your child alone. But then they will put your child in classes that has nothing to do with them graduating. Be an involved parent in your child while they're going through college, because they'll end up being in college longer than they need to. Don't, like I said, it goes back to your child being 18 versus dealing with somebody who's been in the program, being at college or been there for 20 years. They're there to get money at their kid. They're not there to make sure your kid graduate on time. Don't fall for that okie doke. Yeah, that firstborn is going to be challenging. And it goes back to the saying when I said, don't give them everything. Be hard on them. It's better to bend that sap while they're young than try to bend that tree when they're old. Historically, 10, your child grow to be 6'1". What you think is going to happen if you give them everything? And when they get to be 6 foot and you tell them no, and they're 240 pounds and you're 165, what do you think is going to happen? They're used to hearing yes, and then here you go, look, mom, dad, I need your car. No, you can't have it. Why not? They start throwing stuff around the house. Yeah. Because they're used to hearing you say yes. No, you got to program their mind. And then, the cub always wants to be the headline. At some point, the cub wants to take over and challenge the lion. When is that going to happen? Did it happen to me? Yes, it did.
It happens to everybody. I think it happens. It happens even when they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. I think they come at you in their own way. Whether you recognize it at the time is up to you. We talk about leaving. We talk about leaving a legacy, but we mostly ignore major steps. Do you have a will?
Yes, we have wills. We have wills. We have contingency plans. We have insurance policies. We have accounts that the boys know what our account passwords are. We have NODs, which is PODs at the banks, payable upon death, and that's something a lot of that African Americans don't know. You need to go to your banks to get a POD, I think it's called payable upon death. And it's just no more than a form that you have them sign, you fill out, and they fill out, and you sign it. That means if you die, then your kid can go and access the money out of your bank and get it all out. They don't have to wait and pay any taxes on it. And they can continue, especially if your kid's living with you. They don't have to wait until they go and file downtown and wait and get your money all tied up into probate. That way they can live in the house. Otherwise, they're gonna lose the house. They gotta go live with auntie and them and all that stuff. Pay up upon death. They can go get the money out, put it in an account. So our kids had bank accounts when they were 10 years old, when they could really understand finances. So they can go get the money out of your account, put it in their account, and continue to pay the bills, and they don't have to worry about it. And likewise, we got payable upon death, PODs, in their accounts. So if something happened to them, we can go get the money out of their account, put it in our account, and the probate take whatever they need to take out of, as long as they need to take for little tangible stuff, whatever. So that's something very important.
That's something I didn't even know about. So, ladies and gentlemen, go look up PODs. Let me talk about the conversation of the will, though. How tough it was. It seems to be a one-time conversation about insurance, PODs, wills. How tough is it? Why do people think that conversation is so tough to have? Is it because the energy of death?
Yeah, I think the unknown, the uncertainty, maybe the trust factor is gone. I don't know. I mean, when we were, you know, I think I can remember growing up with my grandmother, my mom, and death was like, oh, she died, you know, oh, death, 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 death. And the stigma was death was a scary thing. And we didn't really talk about it. But then I remember my grandmother paying on this life insurance company, Liberty, for all her life. And then it was only $5,000. And that hurt me. So, but death seems to be a scary topic in African American culture, but it's going to happen. It's also, and in the flip side, when I get around some of my millionaire friends and my billionaire oil friends that I'm learning from, um, it's an investment for them, because if they know their mom is if she's 70 years old, they got a hefty life insurance policy on them, and the mom like, go take out an insurance policy. They talk about it, and they get paid. You know, so it's, you know, because it's an investment policy. We find it's just my intake. African American culture, we find it a slap in the face, a disrespect, to go get a life insurance policy out on mom, dad, and grandma. But in our counterparts culture, they see it as an investment, a guaranteed payout. They'll go and get that. The two sisters and brothers that I know, they went and got a policy out on grandma, on mom and dad for $500,000. They paid on it together, and when mom or dad passed, they split the policy, and then they come up a little bit. So it's an investment for them because it's guaranteed money. It's like playing the stock market. So I don't know why, and you know, both my boys have a life insurance policy. Tyler got one for $4 a month, and CJ got one for $5 a month. That's how young we got it, you know, for them. And so the will part of it, I don't want to leave it to anybody except my kids.
Yeah.
You know, and if anything happened to us, you know, I don't know who I would want to leave what I worked hard to came to. I don't know. I don't know what you know.
You know,
we pick.
but you said so much.
Pick. Yeah, I mean, you got to look at it as an investment. I mean,
listen, you blow my mind. Like it's right there in your face. Just culture, the way certain other individuals live. We need this information. That is a great gem. That might be in my top 3 gems that I heard so far throughout this whole entire SOULution series. Insurance policies on our parents and information like that is vital. Wow.
Hey,
wow.
It's an investment.
Wow.
I mean, my mother, my biological mother, and I talked, and she said, "Look, you know, my mother is young. I mean, she's like 60 something." She said, "But if you want to get an insurance policy out on me, go ahead and get it." I said, "Yes, ma'am." I mean, because it's an investment. Mm-hmm. But you know, we both young. I mean, but you know, I could ask my brothers and sisters, my step brothers and sisters, if that's something they want to do. But the fallout. Now, this is the second part. You know, the fallout of the monies, because if somebody don't pay, you know, you got to do a contract. What if, you know, you don't pay?
Yeah.
So I would rather foot the bill myself and then say, okay, if my brother's not doing well, then I could hand him something, you know, because that's mentally, not because I feel a certain way, but the right thing to do because I want to see my family eat, you know. Okay, that's what I do. My sister ain't doing well.
And that goes back to what your grandmother taught you about right and wrong.
Yeah.
Let's talk husband talk. You only got a few more questions to go, but let's talk husband talk. Now, this question...
I'm here all day.
Look, this question here, there's no wrong answer, but I want to hear what you would pick. As a husband, would you rather have a great woman or a great wife?
A great woman.
You got to expound on that answer.
Well, I mean, I got both, but a wife is gonna have, and I am a minister, by the way. I know my wife is supposed to uplift me, give me when I'm weak, or be my yang when I'm weak. And I do have my moments when I'm not there. She's gonna care for me. But I found that my wife is more than just a wife. She's a woman. She's out there making a way. She has aspirations just like me. And put a footnote there. To me, we've been married now for 20, going on 26 years. My wife has a good man, a strong man. His woman, his wife, his woman will get some of his characteristics. And my wife has done that. I am an overachiever. My wife is the one who's nice, gonna treat everybody nice. When I go from 1 to 10,000, she's gonna reel me back in. I've seen my wife go from just no, I'm not gonna do that to I gotta have it. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. She's a woman about having things, by doing things. I've seen her go from a small company to being a director, and I know she's inhibited some of my characteristics from doing that. And she's a woman about business. She's a woman about having things, and I see her grow all the time. When she says, "Let's do this, let's do that," I know where my mind is. I have to allow my wife to get to a certain place and have her own epiphany about things, when she's ready to do a certain thing. I can't say, "Okay, baby, we're gonna do this," and then lead her to that point. I can do certain things like that, but when she's ready to do her thing, I can say, "Okay, baby, I'm with you," and she's gonna do her thing, and I'm gonna be right there beside her while she does it.
It speaks volumes.
She takes care of it. Yeah, she does. She does what she wants to do and when she wants to do it. It's all inclusive. I view a wife as, doing the biblical sense of the word. Just uplifting the husband, staying in some type of role. Just coddling the husband. The husband's out there. I see a lot of postmen. So a real man takes care of his home, pays all the bill, blah 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 blah. Okay, well that's fine. I mean, to each is their own. I have nothing to knock on it. I thank God for my wife. Wants to be more than just a wife. She just wants to be hard charging out there. Getting these headaches with me. Taking care of me. Putting up with all my stuff. So she's more than just a wife. She's an all around great woman. Taking care of me full time. So I mean,
it speaks volumes when a man can let go of his ego and get behind his wife. I think more guys need to look at that skill and know when to play that card.
Oh yeah.
Validation from your partner. It's like you win a championship when you get the right woman. But Mr. Wesley, do you defend the title? And what I mean by that is, are you competing with yourself over the years to be the best you can be for your wife? All the things she loves that you know intricately, are you competing for the championship? Are you still doing all the things that you once did to keep her attention and her heart to keep you winning the title?
When I speak to couples that ask me for how do we do it, I often pull the male to the side and I say, "Hey man, it's not a New Year's resolution. It's every birthday. When your birthday comes around, you have to ask yourself, what did you do different from last year to this year to better yourself, better your marriage? You still look good. You're not letting yourself go. Uh, did you do any traveling? Did you bring flowers? Did you remember the important dates? Um, do you get a random kiss? You know, uh, those random things. Kiss on the neck. She's gonna fight you. Well, what are you doing? No, no, but you got to do it. And so, those affectionate things I still do. Um, so yes, the answer to that is yes. You got to. And I owe her some dates, but the pandemic is, we. I mean, if you follow us on Facebook or Instagram, we always taking pictures. She takes pictures. She makes me smile. I don't do the smiling thing, but she makes me smile. But the one of the things that she wants to do, and I like doing, is traveling. We travel a lot. And I always promised that we would see the world, and so that's what we're going to do. We see the world as much as possible. But when this pandemic blows over, we'll get back to it. So yeah, I don't have to compete. I don't have to compete for the affection because it's already there. I just have to keep watering the flower, plant some new seeds so we can watch a new flower grow. I mean, it's challenging. I mean, you gotta, as a man, you gotta keep creating something new but different at a different angle. The same thing, but from a different angle. It's the same thing, but you gotta get a different look. And like I said, we've been together since 1988, and that's what 30-something years, 32 years now. Let me tell you, you're gonna do a lot of things. It's the same thing, so you can't come. I'm not in a competition with nobody. I mean, if she don't know by now, then it's nothing, I can do about that. But so but like you said,
I'm still laughing at, because I seen your Facebook pictures, and the fact that she said she makes me smile. It's funny because I seen your last photo shoot, man.
Yeah, well, that's her thing, man. She said, you're gonna do a photo shoot. I think it's about like 10 years ago. I'm like, I'm not doing no photo shoot. Oh, you're gonna do a photo shoot, and then she's like, okay,
you
doing this photo shoot
and everything.
I'm like, okay, yeah. So I get out here and I do this photo shoot. I'm like, okay, we'll do this. So I'm out there like, this is my smile.
Yeah, I see.
That's my smile. That's just me showing teeth. This is my real smile.
Yeah.
So I'm smiling right now, but she's like, that's not a smile. That's smile. Okay, I'm smiling.
One more thing.
But, yeah, man, ask any questions, man. I like this, man.
I came up with something called operating at 100%. Now, this is something that I'm trying to implement in everyone who comes on the show to give it a try. Now, what that means is I took 5 categories and tried to operate at a 100%. I took purpose, health, confidence, money, and knowledge, and gave them all 20% each. And on a daily basis, I grade myself. And within a 6 to 7 day period, I give myself an average to see if I'm operating in my purpose or operating at a high rate. Within the last 24 hours, would you say out of purpose, health, confidence, money, and knowledge, were you operating at 100%? Purpose meaning you're living in your purpose, doing the things you need to do. Health means you're eating right, working out, taking the mental precautions you need to make sure your health is intact. Confidence is that you don't have any insecurities at the moment while doing these things. Money is you made a little money, made a little investments, paid a bill. And knowledge is that you took in some new knowledge and some new information. So purpose, health, confidence, money, knowledge. Operating at 100%. What percentage? Purpose, health, confidence, money, knowledge. And each one gets 20%. So out of 20% of each one, what percentage do you think you're working at?
Let's see. Confidence, I would be lacking because in the stock market, I don't know much about it. So I have to knock away some stuff because I really want to learn about options, but that's so confusing how to put a put and call on that, so I have to back out of that. So I give myself 90% across the board. Other than that, I'm usually, but it won't take long for me to read a book and Google some stuff. Other than that, that's it. 90%.
Hey, 90% sounds good, brother. And I want to continue to push forward and get that information on them stocks. Thank you, sir. You are now a part of the Silhouette Boys Club. It's people like you who move in the shadows to help people like me shine. And we want to thank you for coming on the show today. One more thing. We'd like to get referrals of people you think want to come on the show and answer these questions, men of respect, integrity, and hustle. Do you have anyone you would like to refer today?
Before I refer this person, I would say, I want to paraphrase Malcolm X. And Malcolm says, the ultimate measure of a man is not when he stands in the comfort of convenience, but when he stands in times of challenges and controversy. So stay strong, my friends, stay encouraged, okay? The person I want to recommend is my oldest son, Cam West, better known as Cameron Jr. I think you will be very pleased with his intelligence and wit, and I think he'll do good. So whatever questions you have for him, open the floodgates. From money to girls to music and his future plans, get in there, ask him. But look, man, brother, we appreciate you, man. We miss you. Stay safe out there, man, and look forward to seeing you.
No problem. Are there any shout outs you like to give today? Any last, I know you gave us the quote from Malcolm X, but anything else you want to say before you go?
Yeah, I would like to give a shout out to my mentor on the investment side, Chris Sane. A shout out to my family, my wife, my better half, my wife Beverly, Wesley, and that's it. I want to give a shout out to you, and thank you for having me. I love having this platform, and definitely to all the boys I mentor. You guys stay encouraged. That's my number one thing. Stay encouraged, and persevere through these hard times. All right. That's about it, man. I don't want to keep it long-winded because I could be long-winded.
This is SOULutions. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, man. One time for the bros.
Thank you for watching SOULutions. These are my efforts to be the change I want to see. I got tired of wandering in the dark with a flashlight in manhood. Multiple minds of men gifting multiple solutions of life's journey. If you have any questions, please email me at soulutionsformen@gmail.com. If you'd like to contribute to the overall growth of the show, please visit sheen1.com and purchase merch. All proceeds go to the overall production and content. And remember, there's no such thing as a dumb question. Peace.